if you are moved from an open prison into a maximum security prison, which is worse, or you're moved from house arrest into a maximum security prison, which is worse. Do you know that Magnitsky is 1,000 times worse than the Zidera sanctions? So instead, the sanctions have been tightened more than they were under Zidera. And that's the reality. Those guys who are in the Magnitsky ones, it's tough out there. That's why they are using the weak nails and so on, these people that have not been added to those things for business. That's why they are using all these guys. They were using this guy who was the ambassador extraordinary. All these new guys. They have to, because they themselves cannot do anything. Literally cannot do anything, because the Magnitsky it is covered by a lot more countries than the Zidera sanctions. And like I said, Magnitsky is brutal. So that's another lie that you're being told. Okay, let's go to the issue that we have, where we are told that people go into elections, they cry for this, they go into elections. And that then justifies the rigging of elections. Okay, it's a well-known fact in the playbook of competitive authoritarian regimes that elections are a foregone conclusion. The result of the election is a foregone conclusion. And that the election itself is the playground of an authoritarian regime, competitive authoritarian regime. They are used to legitimize an otherwise illegitimate government. So the question then that comes is, why do our politicians engage in those elections? Because this has been used as a justification that you compete, you lose. They go there because of the personal benefits that they themselves receive. Evidence, I can present evidence in chief here. The situation happening in Bulawayo, local government. The situation happening in Harare, local government, Mafume and his councillors. The situation happening in parliament. The situation happening with the chiefs crying for money. So everyone is in there for their own benefit. That's the first one. The other thing is they know that they are competing for number two, but number two comes with benefits. They know that. So it has nothing to do with the people. Absolutely nothing. I'll repeat that. They have a way of conning the people into believing that they are fighting for them. The opposition is not fighting for you. They are fighting to join the feeding trough. They're not fighting for you. When they speak language that sounds militant, as if it's fighting language, when they tweet, it's called politics of theatrics. They are using that to hoodwink you and to keep you fooled so that you continue to support them. You continue to paint them as the best thing after sliced bread when they are actually complicit to your suffering. Look at the deal they made in 2008. Did that include anything about you? Because if the things that were written on that paper, the deal that they made in 2008, wouldn't have MOPA, wouldn't have POSA, or Loma, whatever it's called now, wouldn't have that. Because it's written in that paper there that the fundamental rights of Zimbabweans will be respected. There will be no political violence and so blah, 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 all those things that are written there. So they pretend to represent us. And it's time we woke up. So power must go to the citizens, not CCC, citizens, whatever the CCC means. That's what I mean. Power must go to me and you. We must redeem that power back or claim that power back. We must then, so in other words, first thing first, we need to free ourselves from politics that has been corrupted, or rather that has mirrored ZANU-PF. We need to redeem ourselves out of that. The reason why we are not free as Zimbabweans today is because we fell into the trap that was set for us. Let's bring ourselves out of that trap, literally, and come out of that idea that Monzora is our savior, is going to save us. That Chamisa is our savior, is going to save us. He is not, Monzora is not fighting for you. Chamisa is not fighting for you. You need that to be hammered into your thick skulls. So, citizens' movement, literally, non-violent resistance, involves a situation where me and you first are conscientized. What does that mean? It means first we are told or taught and become aware of our current situation. We need to understand that our problem is not bad governance. We need to understand that our problem is not Zwigananda, it's not looting. We need to understand that our problem is not rigged elections. We need to understand that we are a people that are oppressed. The oppressor is ZANU-PF. Everything else that we're identifying as a problem is a symptom of oppression. And we are only ever going to be free when we fight oppression. Not when we fight corruption, not when we fight looting, not when we fight bad governance, but when we fight oppression. This sister is telling us they've been oppressed for 40 years. We've been oppressed for 45 years. But have you ever heard any politician tell you about oppression? No, none. Don't they know we are oppressed? They do. Why then don't they preach the message of freedom? Ours is the same message that Nkomo under ANC and all these other people that joined. Is this, we are in the same boat, same situation. They were fighting oppression, we are fighting oppression. In the same boat. So let's stop concentrating on sideshows. How are we going to fight this oppression? How are we going to free ourselves? Mentally first. Yes, we'll have the pineapples coming here and telling you all sorts of things. Drum that noise out. Educate yourselves on how to topple an authoritarian, or so a competitive authoritarian regime or a dictatorship. It's just a fancy dictatorship. How do we do that? Free ourselves mentally. We start defying the government. Somebody here was questioning, why are you going to stop giving your family money? It's a strategy that is meant to teach the one that is receiving your money and dancing to the oppressor to say, unless and until you wake up and realize your oppression and your oppressor, the Stockholm syndrome. Someone was saying, hey, if you do that, then the government is going to come in and buy those people chicken in. That government has been there for 45 years. What has it delivered to those people that you are crying that they will lose the support they're getting from the 45 years? What has it given? It has given them death. It has given them HIV. It has given them malaria. It has given them dysentery. It has given them cholera. It has given them accidents on the roads. It has given them huge medical bills.
Prostitution, homelessness.
It has given them all ills that you can think of. So we need now to be radical.
Actually, everything bad.
Everything bad. We need to be radical now. This is a time that calls for radical decisions. Yeah? You know that if a child is being petulant or whatever the case is, sometimes you don't give them food to teach them a lesson. It's a well-known method. We have to create alternatives. Yesterday we talked about constructive alternatives. What are those? We need, there's someone here who said, you can't fight against government. Yes, you can. We need to make the government obsolete by creating institutions amongst ourselves